everything he touches turns into gold. Then it suddenly became, oh, now he's completely Algerian.
Morocco, and you had Algeria, and you had Tunisia, and all of these cultures.
I call you a cultural ally. If you are driven by money, you're going to fail. But if you're driven by passion and creativity, then you can do it forever.
It's a shame because our music could really be out there if we started to collaborate with people internationally. But it's hard to do that if we're not getting the visas and if we're not being allowed to have free movement. Today I'm going to be collaborating with Loush. Now if you follow both Loush and I, then you'll know that Loush has been putting out episodes of our talk over Skype. Now I have made this video to show you guys my favourite bits of our conversation. The conversation ran for over 2 hours, so I was only able to condense this and make this enjoyable and as short as I possibly could, touching on the main subjects which I thought were important to speak about with my audience.
We did it. We finally did it, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Lucky Loush with my girl D. We've been trying to get this collab going for quite a while now. Excuse my manners. Tea, coffee, ahwe chai, tea, cafe. Ahlan wa sahlan, le bienvenue. Welcome everybody. Have a seat. D, I want you to have tea, coffee, water, whatever you'd like. I'd like to kick it with you, and I'm so happy that you've decided to chop it up with your boy Loush, and I'm incredibly blessed to be chopping it up with my girl D. Welcome, and what do you got to say?
I do not have any tea, ahwe chai, cafe, whatever.
There you go.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I've been watching your videos for a little while now, and honestly, gives me so much positive energy and makes me so happy to see other creators on the channel kind of doing similar things and doing it in such a pure and genuine and, you know, comedic way. So yeah, love that.
You started popping up more and more, and I subscribed, and I realized, I was like, wow, you know, this girl who genuinely doesn't have very much attachment to, you know, Middle East or North Africa has taken a huge liking and is doing it from the heart and doing it from the soul. And you know, there's a lot of reaction channels out there, and God bless them, and I wish them all the success. But there's something that stands apart where, you know, you really put your heart and your soul into it. And I quickly realized that, and I said, yo, D, the queen from the UK, the real deal. I need to hit her up, and I'm really happy for that. So we're gonna chat. We did a call out on Instagram with our communities, and we got a few questions. It got super lit. My inbox just was on fire. They actually love you, D. What's up with that? So tell me, like, how long have you been doing this? What brought you to this world?
In terms of what kind of brought me into the world of, one, reaction videos, and two, kind of the Maghreb or, you know, Middle East and North Africa, was a lot of components, and it was very natural, and it felt very kind of real, and it was never about kind of, you know, oh, I'm doing this to kind of, you know, force my feelings about the music. It was genuinely, I heard it and I thought, wow, this is amazing. I enjoy it, and I'm gonna put this out into an audience. And when you get that much of a reception from people, you feel like you have to keep going because there's something there that's so real that you feel like you need to keep at it. And like you said, there are many reaction channels out there, and, you know, a lot of them kind of make me kind of mad at what I'm doing because I don't think they're very genuine about what they're listening to and their intentions behind what they're listening to. So, you know, that's why I say when I saw your channel, I said, oh wow, this guy is like, you know, and I understand your connections a little thicker than mine is with any of this music or this scene in general. But you know, it's from both sides. It's good to kind of see that, you know, you're picking up on this movement. And you're based in Canada, and you're picking up on the movement, and I'm based in the UK, and I'm also picking up on this movement that's, you know, I think is going to really become something big and, you know, amazing.
Preach, amen. I mean, you're absolutely right. And although I sometimes feel a frustration when I watch other people exploiting, you know, the talent and the cultures, and they really feel as though it's giving them attention and they want to ride that attention wave. I get that. I understand. I can also empathize with that. But what really makes me feel better at the end of the day is the community, because they self-regulate and they call out those creators as being phonies. And I look, sometimes I scan in the comment section, and it just restores my faith in humanity, because and then they come back to our channels and then they're like, yo, like, on this particular topic or this particular artist, no one does it better. And they can tell the audience is very educated, they're very smart, and you have to respect them. And if you don't, they're gonna tell you. You touched on a point, for me, having as you said, a thicker relationship, and my attachment to the Middle East and North Africa is very potent, it's very strong. And even with my Lebanon vlogs, or following the Lebanese hockey team to Czech Republic for the tournament, and sort of ever since, I've been creating videos for years now, and it's nothing new. And I've always had this patriotic sort of energy inside of me, where being a first generation Canadian Lebanese, you feel as though that bridge needs to be strong, and that bridge to back home needs to be undeniable and uncompromised. The same with you for Albania, I'm sure. And you feel that responsibility, because your parents have given you this gift of being a part of two amazing cultures, and you want to represent them to the best of your ability. And that comes with everything. That comes with all the political sensitivities, the religious sensitivities, the geographical sensitivities. Oh my God, I remember one time I posted the wrong map of Morocco,
Yeah.
and I thought I was gonna have somebody like jump through the window and attack me. Like and it opens your eyes, and it's just been such a trip. It's been such a journey. But like I say in my video, it's for the culture and it's for the family. It's not about me. And when your purpose is greater than yourself, like, then you're ready to actually do really, really big things. And I don't have an agenda. I don't have a plan. It's just this is the gang, this is the family. I felt like it's resonating with the people. And then we have, like, I call you a cultural ally. Like, you're somebody that we can lean on and that we can depend on to speak, not just to talk about us and where we're from, but to speak the truth and to actually give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I definitely, I love the way you kind of put that all into perspective and really summarized it. And that whole kind of feeling close to your roots, and know being patriotic about where you're from, and also feeling that sense when you're doing these reactions. So for me, for example, I felt very quickly that I was doing a whole load of things. So when I started my channel out, my very first video was on German rap, and there was very much a movement going on at that particular time that I was doing these reactions. I wasn't the only one, but it was very much kind of, the community was very strong around German music, and within that there was also kind of the French rap scene, which is amazing, which is out of this world. And then kind of nestled in between that, you had Morocco, and you had Algeria, and you had Tunisia, and all of these cultures that we were listening to, and artists that I didn't even know initially. I thought, oh, okay, I'm listening to Sofiane or Fianzo, right? And
Hmm.
very, very quickly it started to kind of become apparent that he had a very much Algerian fan base which supported their movement, and that started to kind of come into the comment sections and make me kind of like, okay, let me check, Phobia Isaac, let me check Didin Canon, let me check Zedka.
Shafin and all that. Yep.
Exactly. And it really, really, it was very kind of, the community kind of made this happen, made this what it is today. And then just touching on kind of, the Maghreb, and touching on that scene itself, I think something that a lot of people kind of think of people doing reaction videos is that we're earning a killing from these, and we're doing it purely based on money, which isn't the case, for the many components, due to CPM, due to copyright, due to whatever it be. But there's a lot of things where if it was for the money, we would find, personally, I would find a different route.
My number one piece of advice first is out of many pieces of advice, but the first one would be make sure you have a very sustainable income outside of it, because if you are driven by money, you're going to fail. But if you're driven by passion and creativity, then you can do it forever. I have a very particular goal in mind. I'm representing a people that have been tainted and slandered for the better part of 15 years now. And we have been misrepresented in the mainstream media. And here is this kid, this Muppet, coming in.
I love it.
Who speaks 3 languages and can actually articulate properly what is happening in our side of the world. And if I can bridge that gap, then I've done my job. And I sleep very well at night. If I happen to make a couple of dollars here and there, that does nothing but finance my passion. And it comes full circle. Everything that I do on this channel is done from the heart. Let's talk about the mind a little bit, because as much as positivity can repeat itself in the mind, so can negativity. How have you been able to deal with that vicious cycle in your mind where you just feel so exposed?
At the start, when I first started out, I was very much excited by seeing my subscribers grow, or a video that I put up, I'd see kind of the views on the video go, and I wasn't at all attached to the likes, the comments, not at all. So going on to that part, I was also very, very quickly on my channel, I think maybe in the first 6 months, I was quickly exposed to a lot of views. I think maybe 1 million views in 2-3 weeks. And to have 1 million people going from, you know, having that 5,000, 10,000, a very modest number of people watching your videos, and you being kind of excited to have that kind of audience base, so you kind of skyrocket into millions of views within 3 weeks. And in the comment sections, you know, I used to, you know, I've got death threats before. I've had people be really, really vicious, really, really kind of, you know, get you where it actually hurts, surprisingly enough, even though they don't know you that well. And that kind of made me more exposed to the comments, and made me feel really kind of crappy, because I was actually kind of feeling all these things. And, you know, if someone was putting in a negative comment, it really did kind of affect my day. But I think one way to kind of look at it as well is, which I soon learned, is like, if you have a strong base and a strong kind of network around you of people that are very supportive about what you're doing, or people that are just, you know, actually detached from that world completely, it can really kind of help you as well. Whilst I was on my trips, I was meeting people that were actually watching my videos. I was in Amsterdam, and I met with, you know, it was unheard of, right? Like in one spot, in a matter of 5 minutes, I met 7 people that watched my channel.
Wow.
So that side of it makes you like, wow, like this is amazing. Like, you're really, like, you know, connecting with people.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And that just right there, like at the end, that just that trumps everything that you just mentioned about the negativity. Like,
Exactly.
it crushes it all. What are your thoughts about Moroccan rap in general?
I think I had a similar question.
Okay.
So what are my thoughts on Moroccan rap in general? I think as a movement, it's very, very strong. I think in terms of the music that I've listened to overall in the Maghreb, so if we're talking, you know, Tunisia, if we're talking Algeria, and if we're talking Morocco as the standout, as the kind of if you're competing in a race, and kind of, I think Morocco's kind of earned its title as being probably number one. I think that's due to maybe the fact that they, and the artists, they're very in tune with what's going on around the world. So their music is very easy to listen to. It's very international. Like, you can hear a song and you can immediately, without even understanding the lyrics, kind of have that, you know, playing in your radio, in your cars, or whatever it be. And I remember that when I first started, so there was El Grande Toto, right? And he had a song called Pablo.
Of course.
Of course, yeah, of course, exactly. He had the song called Pablo, and I remember I did a reaction video to that, and very quickly, my friendship group, which I didn't even know watched my videos at the time, I had my cousin calling me saying, my friend is actually listening to Toto. I was in his car, and he was listening to Toto, and I said, what do you mean it's Toto? She said, yep, he has no relation, but he watched one of your videos and he said this music is amazing. Now he's downloaded Soolking, he's downloaded Toto, he's downloaded Mad. So I was like, oh wow, that's impressive. That's crazy, right? And my sister to this day, she calls it one of the best songs she's ever heard. So it's very, very, very kind of up there. It's a high standard. It's a high standard. I don't think, and that's what makes me so kind of happy to even like kind of be like, I feel like if there's people that don't, because it's stupid for me to say that people don't know about Moroccan rap. I think in the UK, if you're not from Morocco, if you're not from the Maghreb, you're probably very uncultured about the Moroccan scene. You're very kind of, you don't know what's going on in that scene. But I was actually reading an article on Issam. You're familiar with Issam, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Sorry?
Trap Beldi.
Yay. Exactly, Trap Beldi.
Is he Algerian or is he Moroccan?
He's actually Moroccan, yeah. So he was I think he had an Algerian in his video though.
Yeah, that's right. The Moroccan PewDiePie.
Yeah. Oh god. But yeah, so he just signed with Universal Music Group France. So, and people are saying, you know, it's the biggest deal to come out of an Arab artist, you know, it's a really big deal, etc. And then I'm kind of reading, so he had an interview and he was talking about the kind of the movement, the Moroccan movement and where he sees it. And he was touching on points such as not having that liberty to move freely, you know, out of Morocco as an artist.
Yep.
And I've heard this concern from other rappers as well, which is that there's not that liberation of kind of movement. There's not that free movement out there that we can go to France or we can go to wherever it be because of kind of the immigration problems and all of that. So he was saying, you know, it's a shame because our music could really be out there if we started to collaborate with people internationally, but it's hard to do that if we're not getting the visas and if we're not being allowed to have free movement.
Yeah, and it sucks when, like, well, it doesn't really suck, but it's a challenge when your only real mainstream Moroccan reference is French Montana. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. I think the only thing I would add to that brilliant explanation and answer is, you know, first of all, I agree wholeheartedly. I think the power and essence of Moroccan music, and particularly in hip hop, comes from their various influences and waves of cultural influences that came into that country. So if we were to start with, you know, the Berber culture, I guess you would call them the origins or the native people,
Yeah.
And then you had the Arabic influence that came through a little bit later, and then you had the French come through, and then you have Spain just bordering them, and then with, you know, modern internet and globalization, now English is now coming through also, and you just have this brilliant mashup of all of these little elements, and they're so smart, eh? Like they leverage them when they need to. And when you look at artists like Shafin or Shobi or Accept, who creates mostly in English, they leverage those elements, those cultural elements, when it suits them best. And I think it's just such a pleasure, and it's such a treat to watch and experience.
It's the right. It's not a power cut.
Did you pay your bill?
What's our real honest opinion about Algerians, Algerian music, and why do we do our reactions?
My thoughts on Algerians is that they in particular are a very proud people. They are a very dignified people. They are a people that have seen a dark history, but have the intelligence and stamina to make sure that history doesn't repeat itself. My attachment with the Algerian people comes from my attachment with the Lebanese people. The correlations there are plenty. So when we think about our past, we think about our civil wars or a foreign country's impact on our own, and what we've done to sort of survive from that and to maintain our dignity and our rights to live and to be, you know, really just dignified human beings. I think that's really what drew me to the people, and then obviously the music. The music, when you think about, there's a lot of Algerian, I guess you could, so in Algeria, they call them a sheb, which is Cheb. And a sheb means a young man in Arabic. And they usually put sheb in front of the name if they're a very, I guess, really highly regarded singer or songwriter or whatnot. And you have Sheb Khalid, and there's another one called Sheb Hasni. And Sheb Hasni,
Sheb, how do you say it? Sheb.
Sheb, you got it.
I got it. I know I had it, but before I called it Cheb. So, you know.
it's Sheb. So it's more like it would be like an SH, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that brought me into the music a little bit more. And obviously, you know, there's no need to really mention Soolking and sort of what his music and impact did for me in that country. But for me, I want to go a step further than that, and really recently, just with the revolution that happened over there, and my coverage on that music, and me, I brought in my boy Omar, I brought in Els, and we were really consuming and experiencing it from our own lenses. Me as a Muslim Lebanese, Els as a Christian Lebanese, and Omar at the time as an Egyptian, just kind of bringing in our own thoughts. And I guess I say prejudices, but in a positive way. Like we were bringing in our own biases and sort of our own opinions, which I think is good. That helps with conversation. So, you know, Algerians are a, like I said, they're a dignified, strong people. They're very, very proud of who they are and where they're from. And that's why I really try to respect the content whenever I'm reviewing or reacting to their stuff. I don't just want the passerby who's going to come comment his flag 1,000 times and then leave. I understand what they're doing, and I understand why they're doing it, but that's not why I create my content. And I just don't want people to. I want people to love my content because of my I guess you can say my spin on it, or my take on the content. Because if I can add value, then I've done my job. And not so much just because it's Algerian. And that's exactly what ended up happening. I got so much support from people who love Lebanon and love Canada and love me for who I am and what I brought to their cause and to their videos. That is why Algeria just holds such a special place in my heart, because of the aftermath. Like the community just really took me in, and they just love, really, not just when I do something about Algeria. They came for Algeria, but they stuck around for Loush. And for me, that's the best thing that can possibly happen. So that's it for me. What about you?
Back to the stage.
Yeah.
I think for me, Algeria has been a very, very big part of my channel. Like a huge support from them passers by that, you know, put the flags on and leave, but then also the people that actually, like you said, they stay and they really love the content. And I got a lot of what you're saying about kind of the revolution that's going on, and everything surrounding that. That was so beautiful for me to kind of see and kind of be involved in at the same time, because I was really kind of getting in what from artist point of view, but I was getting it in at the same time. And I was also very much kind of asking my audience to really tell me what was happening and really break it down for me. Not going in too political into it, but I very much kind of like to kind of give my take on the whole situation when I was doing these reactions. And for me, it wasn't so much, it was giving my perspective 110%, but again, I didn't want to be too involved into it, and to the point where I was like, you know, giving people ideas or thoughts about I was trying to keep it a very kind of biased level as well, at the same time, because it was more, I was trying to explain what was going on to anyone that might have caught that video or might have seen it and didn't really understand. Because like I said on my channel, I do a lot of, like, you know, the Maghreb is very much kind of in my, like, it's infiltrated my channel, but there's also other things that I do, and there's a lot of audiences that I've picked up doing that. So there is people that are coming into the comment sections and they're like, oh hi, I'm from Turkey, just watch this video, I love it, la 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 la. And for me, having that kind of English translations in the video really adds to the viewership. And I made sure that, you know, at one point I could really kind of one, understand for myself, but also make an audience that didn't know what was going on or doesn't understand a certain situation, that it was good for them to come to my channel and they could see that side of it as well. The infrastructure in terms of music industry, I don't think is as it's developed as it should be. But again, we are seeing kind of artists flourish even from Algeria. Not obviously touching on Soolking, because Soolking is very much kind of in the French scene at the moment. So when you relate to Soolking, yes, he is an Algerian artist, and I'm sure they're very proud to have him as someone that represents them. But I think he's very much kind of engulfed in the French scene now. So yeah.
You know what's interesting about Soolking? In his early days, so I got on Soolking very early, and I was paying attention to the reactions, to like the fan base and what they had to say about him. And the early opinions about him was that he is not an Algerian. He is a French rapper who is from Algeria.
Right. Right.
And that was the original. But then when he blew up and just caught fire and literally everything he touches turns into gold, then it suddenly became, oh, now he's completely Algerian who just happens to live in France.
Yeah. Yes. That is true. I didn't even kind of, you know, relate. Didn't really think of the two. I think the first song I heard from Soolking was it was actually Milano, and also it was a song with Alonso, TRW.
Yep.
Started making my reactions. It was two purely Algerian artists. It wasn't Algerian artists that lived in France. It was literally Phobia Isaac. It was Zedka. It was Didin Canon. It was, you know, all of these artists lived in Algeria. Adel Sweezy. And I was hearing here and there Soolking, oh, do a reaction to Soolking, but it wasn't to the level where, you know, Adel Sweezy reactions were getting asked for, or you know,
Right.
So
yeah, you had a very niche at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So people were asking for it, but to the extent that it is now, it wasn't anywhere near that.
We've talked about so many things. We've gone in so many different directions. I want to do more. I want to do some challenges. I want to do more collabs. Hopefully one day in person.
Yes.
I mean, Dia, I want to thank you so much. And honestly, this has been a blast.
Everyone really appreciates your content, and you know, you're great to have on the platform.
I guess that's it. We'll wrap it up. Thank you for having, you know, tea, coffee, ahwe shai, tea, cafe.
Oh.
And then you take your hand and you go, ziho.